All right, just about Powell, but what's everyone doing as we prepare for the Saturday Aloha Senior Night at Aloha Stadium for the Rainbow Warrior football team? Bobby, what you got?
Well, that is the one. We're going to see if the seniors can go out with a win against Louisiana Monroe. I think it's a team they match up well with. And I also have the morning show, the eponymous morning show every morning from 6 to 9. And also, we have a special Call the Coach with Eran Ganot on Tuesday, and we'll talk about their trip to play Texas Tech.
Well, speaking of senior night, speaking of the symbolic aloha, we're bidding a symbolic aloha to Rob DeMello. We're actually going to end the season of But Seriously next week, and Rob's not going to be here. You're going to be, well, what are you going to be doing?
I'm going to be resting and sleeping because the KHON2 Cover 2 season is over. So that's when I nap and I go into hibernation. But I'll be working at KHON2 over the next couple of days before I take some time off. And you can catch that at 6, 9, and 10.
All right, and hopefully maybe get a little bit more microphone check rhythmic action
if you're
on
lucky.
The air. All right, well, I got to jam back over to Maui, do some radio for the Maui Jim Maui Invitational here. So we got to get out of here. But if you want to get in touch, here's how. Hashtag BS Guides. You can also shoot us an email. Click in Contact Us on ocsports.tv. We'd love to hear from you. Big mahalo certainly to men's head volleyball coach Charlie Wade for spending a little time with the BS Guys. Friendly reminder, if you want to see what you may have missed, we go a little long in some of these segments and it gets edited out. You can check out OC Sports Enhanced on channels 15 and 1015, or you can go to ocsports.tv. That's where you'll find extra material not included in this show. And we'll be back, except for Rob. Someone will take your place, but I'm sure they won't be able to live up to the standard that you have set. So join us next week for another edition, whether you like it or not. But seriously, Bob, me, no longer Rob. What's not to like? We'll see you then.
Inside Access on OC Sports is sponsored by Strong.
Potter got Irvin to his right in shotgun. Potter looking to throw. Nobody open. He'll try and run. He gets to the 5-yard line. Kenny Potter muscles his way into the end zone. Your frustration level. You see around you. I mean, you see the sideline. Oh, yeah. Some players have checked out. Some coaches may have checked out. Number 90 has not. No. You got fight like nobody's business.
No way. I don't know. I can't see people, doing that. Just walking out. Exactly what you say. Walking around the sideline and just seeing people just put down their head. And like you said, even some coaches. It's kind of sad, but you just got to go out there and fight. You love the game. Go do what you love the best. Go out there and fight.
For some, the fight does continue. For others, well, you got to quit losing to start winning. Let me get hypological. See, challenges are what makes life interesting. Overcoming those challenges is what makes life meaningful. Potter rolls right side. Potter throws. Potter delivers. San Jose State touchdown. Tim Crow. 9 straight losses for the UH football team. 4 in a row here at home. Have the wheels indeed come off the bus? I'm Robert K. Kaula. This is Inside Access here in OC Sports. With their first 6 possessions of the game, San Jose State found the end zone. Tucker out, Irvin in. Play action. Potter wants to throw again. And again has all day. Potter, touchdown. Wide open, Hansel Wilson. The start of the game, they got rolling. You guys get into a deep hole. Tough to crawl out of that kind of hole, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just little mistakes, people not doing their job, we gotta constantly tell, each other that we gotta do our job. People not on the same page, people just, freelancing out there. We can't do that as a football team. Nobody can do that as a football team. You can never win games like that.
Can't get any uglier, right? They go 6 possessions to start the game, 6 touchdowns.
I mean, you just gotta, I don't know. I really don't know what to say that. You just really just gotta, snap and clear. Just gotta come back and grind even harder and harder and harder. After seeing that, after going through that, it's basically, hey, just gotta come back and grind.
Spartans were 7 for 7 on 3rd down in the first half, averaging 13 yards on those plays. At the break, Rainbow Warriors trailed 35-0. Inside the 10-yard line, sets up 1st and goal from the 9. Potter himself keeps it, touchdown. Too easy. Then out of nowhere, this happened. Interim head coach Chris Naiole huddled his troops and delivered a "don't you dare quit" speech. Maybe too little, too late, but message sent, message well received.
I mean, to sum it up, is just pretty much just get it done. You know, be a man, be pride. You know, have some pride. You know, obviously, you know, it wasn't the way we wanted to start. So pretty much what he said was just, you know, have some pride, be a man, and just get it done.
Coach Naiole is a very emotional coach, just like how I am. You know, I hate. You know, I hate people when, you know, when they tell you constantly, they sound like on broken record. You know, every week. You know, and he told us to just man up and just start playing. You know, you don't want to see your coach. You don't want to see your coach. Just letting all things go. He don't let anything go. That's why he huddled us up and he got on our business and telling you guys don't want to play. Go in the locker room, take off your stuff, and just go home. You know, I like the guys who can play hard for us, play hard for the team, and play hard for these coaches in the state of Hawaii.
It came at the right time. He kind of gave us a spark. Like at the second half, we came out with high energy, but we just came out flat and kind of was just going through the motions.
In front of only 11,625 fans, smallest home UH football crowd ever, Hawaii took it to the Spartans, and if anything else, some showed absolutely no quit. 2nd and 8, 27-yard line. Paul Harris gets it again. Left side, to the 15. Paul Harris, touchdown, Hawaii. Second half, you guys started to get it done. It felt so much better. It looked so much better. It must have felt so much better.
Came out with high intensity in the second half. You know, I wish we were able to do that in the first half.
Got Justin Bailey in for extra protection. Tekawuzi hit backside. That ball deflected off the receiver into the hands of Devin Stubblefield. And he will score 77 yards.
Turning the ball over in the first half is hard. You know, anytime you turn the ball over, you know, it's hard for you to win. At the end of the day, you know, we just gotta be able to bring out that second half intensity with the first half, and then maybe it'd been a different game today.
Truth is, most of life is not easy. It's filled with failure and loss. People let you down. Dreams don't always come true. Hearts get broken. Best moments in life, when everything does come together, are few and fleeting. We got a lot to talk about. This is Inside Access here in OC Sports. Welcome back to Inside Access here on OC Sports. Final score Saturday night, Aloha Stadium, Spartans stopping the Rainbow Warriors 42-23. Hawaii now 2-10 overall, 0-8 in the Mountain West Conference. You have a sense of what pride means. There's a last name on the back of your jersey. There's a state name on the front of your jersey. It means something to you when you walk out of that locker room.
It means a lot, you know, especially after seeing what happened last night, you know, just all of that just pumps you up, you know, just the word pride, you know, I don't know if some people know it, but to me, man, it's everything. You know, once you strap up, once you have anything on your head and another name on the back and in front, you know, it's game on.
Game on. The Friday night reference was the high school state championship in front of 19,000 at Aloha Stadium. Kahuku stopping St. Louis. I'm Robert Kekaula with Nate Lau, Stephen Tsai, Rich Miano. There's a lot of bad in that game, Hawaii versus the Spartans. A little bit of good. Let's start with your reactions first to the score, to the outcome, to the way the game was played.
Disappointing, but just kind of to segue into what Kennedy was talking about, Chris Naiole's tried to do everything with this team to get them motivated to come out of the locker room and play hard with pride. The only thing that he didn't do, and it's probably against NCAA rules, is to get those guys on a bus, go out to the North Shore, watch how Kahuku practices, watch how they play, watch the pride, the techniques, the toughness. That is football, and that's how important football is to this state. And some of these guys, and maybe some of the coaches, I hope not, don't get it.
Nate, when we saw Naiole lose his cool on the sideline, it was probably warranted at the time, the way the team was playing. Then to get them to react to what he said, how he said it, and to play well after that. Why does it get to that point?
I have no idea. I mean, as a
but you guys started
player,
fast every week.
You know, as a former player, you know, I took it upon myself to make sure, you know, what I wanted to do. But these guys, I mean, I guess they need something else. I mean, they got the Uptown Funk thing at third, fourth quarter. They got all these other things. They're getting yelled at. You know, he's shaking up the captains type deal. But, you know, I thought they responded to it, you know, and if that's the case, he should start the game off, you know, just ripping them up.
Pre-game snap in the locker room.
Just let them have it.
Steven, you've seen all season the way it's gotten. The second half defense for Hawaii. Big difference from the first half defense, but again, too little too late.
It always seems like they seem to be like analyzing how things go and then playing and then trying to, but then it gets too late. I mean, it's the way it seems like an offense. They're kind of testing out, seeing what's going out there and then the attack. But again, while they're doing this, your team is scoring or, you know, and then I think they need to just really focus and get it going. I don't know if it's the game planning. I don't know if it's because they're so injured, but it just seems like they're just not getting to that, you're right, that fast start, and I don't know why. And I don't think they know why they're not getting off the fast starts.
And give credit to the Spartans. They're 5-6 overall. They get started the exact way they had planned for it. They get started fast. Spartans come out, and they represent, over the last 4 games, 3 of Hawaii's opponents have gained over 500 yards of total offense. The average of those 4, 522 yards. It's not getting it done.
Yeah, and you can reference these teams are who they are. San Diego State was going to run the football 17 consecutive times. Fresno, they did what they do. The same thing here. So you have to ask yourself, sure, there's injury excuses, but are they being prepared for the game plan, and are they executing? So it's not just the coaches, it's the coaches and the players, but you can't wait till halftime, Robert.
So 10 of 15 on third down were the Spartans. In the first quarter alone, San Jose State, 21 plays, 207 yards, 21-0. They take 10 minutes, 6 seconds off the clock. Their quarterback, Kenny Potter, 6'2", 212-pound junior, 23 of 32, 312 yards, 5 touchdowns. And then their running back, Taylor Irvin, he had 20 carries for 114 yards and a touchdown. Now, credit to the Spartans. They lead 35-0 at halftime. Biggest deficit at the break for Hawaii since USC 41-0 in 1999. That's an ugly place to be.
It is, and I thought with Tyler Irvin coming out, you know, I think the game plan was kind of wrapped around trying to stop him, and here comes Mr. Potter, who had a lot of tricks up his sleeves. I thought he made the game more, you know, he was more efficient going down with the run, setting up his play actions and a lot of things like that.
And not to take anything away from Kenny Potter or last week's Zach Greenlee, but Hawaii made them look like Tom Brady. They're not that good.
No, they gave him a lot of time, and this wasn't even the first-string quarterback entering the beginning of the season. This is a backup guy who just developed, but you get that much time, you know, you can do a lot of things, and I like your magical thing. You want to say Harry Potter, didn't you? You want to make a Harry Potter reference.
Now, it's the ugly words to a defensive player, defensive coach. Too easy. Sometimes it was too easy for San Jose State to get into the end zone, but after Naole snaps at his team, gets them to respond, Hawaii started playing the kind of defense we all anticipated they would be playing the entire season, especially after Colorado.
Yeah, early on in the season, this was the strength of this football team. Like you referenced, the last 3 or 4 games, they've been struggling. But Robert, I'll bet you when you turn on the film, there's guys in the wrong gap. There's guys breaking coverage. There's even probably, and you hate to say this, lack of effort, but it all goes back to coaching. And you have to prepare the guys. You can't execute for them, but you have to make sure they understand playing hard and playing smart on every play.
Second half, Hawaii won, actually, 23-7. Held the Spartans to 155 yards. Jelani Tavai gets that safety. It's the kind of defense we'd all been expecting. Is your frustration level at, like, highest volume, 10?
Yeah, you can say that, you know, every week, you know, I just, you know, constantly every week, you know, it's just boom, 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 it's getting there, but the love of the game, you know, the guys, like my coach, like Coach Kurt, you know, Coach Chris, when I look at everybody, like when I look him in the eye, everything just goes away, and I just play hard, you know, that's all I do is just work hard for these guys and just love them to death.
Now, the numbers. Julian Jenner, he had 8 tackles. Hawaii's linebacker. He's a senior. Joining him, Kennedy Tulimasiali'i continues to be disruptive. He causes chaos. Officially 3 tackles, 3 solo, 2 tackles for a loss of yards, and a sack. Where do you get your inspiration from when you see it falling apart around you?
Exactly that. When I see things start to fall apart, some people, that's what you grow up seeing. Just see things fall apart, and you just gotta be the one to put it back together. And that's kind of where I think I fit in.
Hawaii records 4 sacks, and Kennedy was leading the charge despite double teams along the way, and guys like Lance Williams allowing him some help. That's an effort by number 90 week in, week out.
It is, and he's one of the cornerstones, the defense, and other guys have to step up, week in and week out. Julian Jenners, Lance has popped up every now and then, Gerald Garcia-Williams as well. But it's one of those things where you got to have it on a consistent basis. If you can get all 4 or 5 of those guys as active as possible each game, I think a lot of the games won't get out of hand so fast.
Miano's pet peeve: turnovers. Hawaii lost a turnover game 2-0. Spartans get touchdowns off both turnovers.
Very important. Obviously, the momentum, it's a huge play. The second most important thing other than the score, in Hawaii being 127th in the country out of 127 teams, is disturbing.
Yeah, turnover margin now -23. Ryan Tuiasoa with the fumble early. Ikaika throws an interception in the end zone. Have you felt, Stephen, the air come out of a tire or the hot air balloon completely, or is it still leaking?
Well, I don't know, because everyone talks about maybe they don't play with enthusiasm, maybe they're not playing tough, but then you go to practices, they look like they're playing hard. You go in the locker room afterwards, it looks like it matters to them. They're very angry, and I don't know. I see the coaches. Yesterday I went there. The coaches are all watching videos on Sundays. I think we'd all rather be doing other things on Sundays, and so I don't know what's missing, because it looks like they're at the right places and doing the right things. I just don't know what's missing.
We got much more to talk about here on Inside Access. When we come back, we'll talk Hawaii on offense and a running back closing in on 1,000. The 2nd and 4 from the 5. Ikaika Willie touchdown.
Guess who?
Kamate Stevens. That's the way quarterback Ikaika Willie. He was 13 of 25 against San Jose State. 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, rushed for 22 yards, threw 1 INT. Maybe the drive that tells the best story of all is in the second quarter. Hawaii marches down the field. 14 plays, 65 yards. They take 6 minutes, 5 seconds off the clock, but it ends up in the turnover we showed you earlier of Ikaika Willie throwing the interception.
Yeah, and I think the next drive was all Paul Harris as well. So the ground game was very successful. And I give credit to Chris Naioli. First of all, he coaches that group. Secondly, he understood you need to be physical on offense. And Paul Harris has been as consistent as anybody on this offense.
But this one drive was a killer. Right when you thought Hawaii maybe was getting some of that momentum back, Ikaika Willie has a great pass to hit Harold Maleni and then makes the error in the end zone. Nate, where are you in your mind looking at the Hawaii offense? As we saw to start the season, defensively against Colorado, it raised the level of expectation. And I think, fairly, it's gone down since. Has the offense moved on a scale for you?
Yeah, I think it went the other way. But, as far as, with a lot of things that's gone on, I think it's even before the season started, having a new coordinator come in, with a lot of these guys having to learn something new. I said at the beginning of the season, it's going to take some time to get, the chemistry going, and then the injuries. A lot of these receivers are wearing more knee braces than the quarterbacks at one point. And it was just inconsistency with that. And then, of course, with the Coach Chow departure and everything like that, it's just, I don't think they've had solid ground this whole season. And there's been sparks with Paul Harris, has shown, some consistency of late. But I just don't think they've had a strong foundation to kind of fully grow and make themselves better.
Stephen, before the season started, there's a media day with Mountain West Conference teams in Las Vegas. The conversation got to 75 touchdowns for the offense. And I get it. If I'm a coach and you ask me, I'm not going to say, hey, we're going to score 1 touchdown this season.
Well, I
but
kind of
75 might be a little bit.
Yeah, but you have to set your sights high, right? Because, again, my New Year's resolution is every year to do 1 sit-up because I do it, I make it. And all these people who don't make the resolutions are all depressed and everything. I do my one sit-up, I'm good for the year.
You guarantee yourself success.
Wow. And that's...
What is it this year?
One sit-up. what am I? I'm consistent.
He wakes up.
But you know what? I think when you were talking about like getting into the system, learning things like that, I think Lance Williams said it was a negative that people are trying to freelance. I think that's okay if you want guys to not be robotic and play on their own and do things, but you have to learn the system first. And it still seems like here we are in the 13th week of the season, they're still trying to learn the defensive system. You can freelance after that, but you just got to learn the system. You're right, seem to be out of position a lot of times and just not making the right plays.
I think Rich said it about the offense. What's been consistent has been Paul Harris. Paul Harris's ability, now 5 100-yard games this season as the leading rusher. It's him, along with Deshaun Allen, and guys like Ben Clark across the offensive line. Look at the big Kukui, 50, making holes for Mr. Paul Harris. Paul Harris rushed for 179 yards. He's up to 966 yards this season. Look at the effort he's getting up front. That's the big Kukui.
Like him, like Tupai running down to the second level, like the effort, and they, again, offensive line, consistent. Have they played great? No. But the running game has been the bright spot in this offense.
That's a hole, Nate.
It is.
That's a hole.
I can fit through it, and from what it is, it looks just like good upfront push right here, and a lot of the vision that he's being patient with, and once he sees a hole, he's able to hit it. So it's a good group effort, but and rightfully so, his consistency is, obviously showing through. I just wish the passing game could kind of, complement it as well. That way you have a full total package of an offense.
So as we mentioned, Paul Harris, 179 yards rushing. The touchdown, he's now 24 yards shy of 1,000 this season. I want you to think past the score. You're on fire right now.
I don't really feed into my stats, my individual stats. I just try to do what I can for the team, and I follow their blocks. I give all my stats to the team because without them, I wouldn't really be able to put up the stats I am putting up.
You're creeping up on 1,000 yards after your 5th 100-yard performance. It's got to validate in your head your abilities, your skills.
Once again, I just got to thank the linemen and outside receivers. Without them, I wouldn't be able to put the stats up I am now.
So for the record, it is the 5th 100-yard game. It's the most since Travis Sims in 1992, who had 9 100-yard games that season. And he's the last running back at UH to become the 1,000-yard big guy.
So he's better than Nate Ilawa then.
Well, in Nate's defense, those shovel passes were really runs.
Those shovel passes were
So we should deduct from Cole Brennan and give
You're the best in recent history.
Nate got robbed of about 1,500 yards there over his career. I want to ask you guys, have you ever seen a kicker? Now, all of them didn't count, but the reality is Rigo Sanchez converted 3 onside kicks in one game, and some of them were absolutely ridiculous. That may have been the best pass of the game by Rigo Sanchez's foot. He also had a punt that went 54 yards that he got to go out of bounds at the 2-yard line. Dare we say he
MVP?
might be the most valuable player on this team right now?
Robert, I'm going to go there because at the beginning of the season, he didn't kick off. He's kicking off. He's kicking field goals. He's punting. He's a Ray Guy finalist, which he should be. And if this team had more success, he might actually win that. This guy, and give Jake Cookus, the special teams coach, credit, because I think they've been, again, the most consistent group.
I've never seen, like, behind the back kick, looking at one foot, stepping. He should go on Dancing with Stars. You got footwork like that. Steven, were you mind blown at this point? I was.
I think so, and he's just a great guy too. And there's so many question marks that they had in this because they lost Scott Harding and everything, and he just came in, he stepped up, and he's doing it with a different system too. He's actually having to boom away, and that's with the shield coverage, and that means you have probably 2 fewer coverage guys, but he does a really good job.
Here's my one thought as we go to break. How do you line up offside on an onside kick?
That's not going to your
that
side.
went the other way. I'm just asking. More inside access when we come back here in OC Sports.
Inside Access on OC Sports is sponsored by Strong.
Final numbers, Hawaii versus San Jose State. Hawaii had 213 yards rushing, 314 yards passing for the Spartans. Third down conversion completely one-sided. 10 of 15 for San Jose State, 4 of 13 for UH. And in the red zone, Spartans got in 5 times in the red zone, and 5 times they got points. At this time, we usually bring you Through Si's Eyes. It's a home game. Stephen took the game off with his camera, but Stephen did not take the time off to stay away from the camera. We want to show you what happened after the game. This is a great video, Stephen. Have you seen the video?
No, I didn't even see the guy in Pee Wee Herman's clothes running after me either.
That's the sports information director, Lawrence Fan,
What
for
was
San
he doing
Jose
with the
State.
arm? What does that mean? What was the arm?
Hey, and Stephen, you were interviewing players on the field.
Yes.
Which we all know you're not supposed to.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's, things have changed.
But Nate, that's some great form by Lawrence Fan. He had to
Look
go,
how
60
mad
yards?
he is. Why is he that mad?
What? I mean,
wow.
I thought
You won, Lawrence. You won. Why is he so angry?
I saw that video and I completely lost my mind. It was hilarious.
I think this is horrible. Chinese on Chinese crime is just terrible.
At one point, he thought it was horrible at 35-0. Blew some steam off, got his players rejuiced to go after it. Talking to interim head coach for UH, Chris Naole. He joins Inside Access right now. 35-0 start. Could see the smoke coming out of your head. It was ugly, wasn't it?
Definitely. We couldn't stop them on defense. Offense, we turned the ball over twice. Things kind of snowballed out of hand, and then, we came back and fought in the second half, but it was a little too late when you put yourself down, 35-0.
Talking to the kids afterwards, when you gave them your come to Jesus moment in the team huddle, it worked.
It's just a point in the game where you felt like, nobody, I'm talking players and coaches, it just felt like it was just lifeless out there. It almost feels like you're on the island by yourself, and, to the point where, I don't want to break any more headsets, I got to buy them, I'm going to have to buy and replace a new headset, but at the end of the day, I think they got the message, and, we came out in the second half and performed and showed some fight.
This is senior week. I'm sure everybody starts to reflect to their senior weeks in college. You talking to the kids this morning about your senior week at Colorado?
This is one of the most important weeks of your whole career. You kind of reflect back on your whole career, and I told the guys you'll never forget this day. I also told them most of them will suit up again and play this game, and just is what it is in life, and nothing better to put the cherry on top of the sundae by walking out of here with a win.
One more game left for you as the interim head coach. What have you learned about being a head coach over the last couple of weeks?
A lot. There's a lot more to dealing with than just your 16 kids. Like you inherit 110 kids, and everybody has problems. Everybody has good days and bad days. Everybody wants a deal. Not only that, just what it takes to be a head man to deal with. A lot of times you're not even dealing with football. You're just doing administrative work. You kind of directing traffic for everybody, and you set things up because now you're on a bigger stage, and you got to take responsibility for everything that goes on in the program, and it's a great experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Maybe three more wins, but I don't come out here to lose these games, and I'm going to give everything I got to win this last game.
You ever want to be a head coach? Ever thought about it?
I never thought about it. At first I didn't know if I even wanted to get into coaching in the first place. I started with Pop Warner with my son, and then moving on to high school at Iolani, and getting the call to come here. To make it this fast a fast track, I thought about maybe coaching in the NFL, but right now Hawaii's home. I have a newfound respect for this place, and I think I'm gonna call home in Hawaii.
One last question: would it mean more for these kids to give you a win on your record as interim coach, or would it mean more to you to lead these kids to get a W on their way out?
It would mean more to lead these kids on the way out to get a W. It's not about me at the end of the day. It's always about these kids and what's best for these kids.
Good luck this week.
Appreciate it.
We'll be back with more Inside Access on OC Sports after this time out.
Who wants one? Over here. We're booked for months. I'm gonna have to hire, which means I'll have to get a handbook, set up healthcare, and get workers' comp insurance. I have to track hours, do benefit calcs, timesheets, payroll, W-2, tax filings.
Oh! Don't let work get in the way of your business. If you run a business, let Simplicity HR by Altris help you simplify. We'll handle all the distractions and paperwork so you can do what you do best. Simplicity HR by Altris.
Welcome back to Inside Access, fantasy football time. A trip down the dark side. And joining us from parts unknown, our OC Sports fantasy guru, Derek Honma, who was good this weekend.
We got to go with dab it up, baby.
Yes.
Super Cam, Cam Newton, 20 for 34, 246 yards passing, 5 touchdowns. The guy has been unbelievable this season.
With nobody around him.
Nobody, no support. I mean, you got guys like Devin Funchess, you got guys like Ted Ginn Jr. surrounding him, and he's just throwing touchdown passes all day long. 30 total fantasy points for Cam Newton. And the other big stud, basically, Thomas Rawls. Early in the morning, we got the word that Marshawn Lynch was going to be out. This guy stepped in. Baby beast mode is what they're calling him. 30 rushes, 209 yards, 3 receptions, 46 yards, 2 touchdowns, 36 total fantasy points. Granted, this is against the 49ers, so take that with consideration. But I think, you look at Thomas Rawls, you got to monitor what's going to happen with Marshawn Lynch this week. Make sure you see if this is a sports hernia, if he's going to be out, but he's got to be a top waiver wire pickup this week, guaranteed.
Every weekend in the NFL, there's a good, there's a bad in the world of fantasy football. Who was ugly this weekend?
Well, a lot of bad this week, and a lot of bad had to do with a lot of injuries. But I think if we're going to focus on bad, we got to look at guys with high expectations this week. Guys that a lot of people put in for daily fantasy, and me especially, Derek Carr, looking to have a big game against the Detroit Lions. Nada. 13 for 25, 169, no touchdowns, 6 fantasy points. And when he struggles, so does his weapons. Amari Cooper, Michael Crabtree, not good days for the Raiders offense. And Lamar Miller, looked so good since Man Campbell came aboard and issued the proclamation that they were going to run the ball. But definitely this game against Dallas Cowboys, not so good. 7 rushes, 44 yards, 2 receptions, 11 yards, no touchdowns, 5 fantasy points. They didn't have the ball very much, but I think, you look forward to Lamar Miller next week and moving forward, especially in your fantasy football playoffs. This is a guy with great matchups, so you got to lean on his RB1 moving forward.
All eyes on quarterbacks, always, in the NFL. Especially rookies this season, and especially with Hawaii noticing Marcus Mariota. He was taken second. Jameis Winston was first in the draft, and he's finally come on strong.
Oh, big time, big time. I think you look at Jameis Winston this weekend, basically, against this Eagles defense that did not look good at all on Sunday, and Winston tore him up. And it wasn't just Jameis Winston. You look at the Juggernaut, Doug Martin, rushed for 235 yards on Sunday, which led to Winston being in the red zone, which led to his big targets, Mike Evans and Vincent Jackson catching touchdown passes. The guy, 246 yards, not a lot of production, basically 19 for 29. But 5 touchdowns, 29 fantasy points, big day for Winston. I don't know if he's slotted as a QB1. I don't know if I'd feel comfortable starting him, but I think he definitely had a good game. Definitely was a huge surprise. And the other guy, Spencer Ware. Again, we talk about daily fantasy, and a lot of people picked up Sharkhandrick West to go big time against the San Diego Chargers run defense that is non-existent this whole season. He went out with a hamstring injury, and Spencer Ware stepped up. 11 rushes, 96 yards, 2 touchdowns, 21 fantasy points. This Kansas City Chiefs, the offense basically, and this backfield has really turned a corner, and I think you look forward to, if West can get healthy, you better pick up Ware as your handcuff, because looking at the fantasy football playoffs, you got to have that backup, especially if West goes down again.
So the waiver wire this week, handcuffs?
Yeah, I think we'll remind you again, it's got to be handcuffs. Handcuff your running backs, handcuff your starters. You look at Darren McFadden, you're looking at Robert Turbin. You're looking at what happened with Devonta Freeman. You look at Tevin Coleman. You look at Lamar Miller. You look at Jay Ajayi. You look at these starting running backs, especially as you head toward the fantasy playoffs. Lock your rosters in. Just protect yourself. Make sure that you're covered heading into the fantasy football playoffs.
Every week, you join us with your studs of the week. In the world of fantasy, in our reality world, here's our stud for this week. Oh my!
Oh wow! Look at this. Who found this?
What did that Pro City? What did you say something about the wind and the air out of your sails?
My goodness!
And this being the holiday, it's Thanksgiving.
Wow!
The 1996 Turkey Trot champion.
Oh my goodness! Look at this.
This is.
You guys are killing me here, man.
This is our weekly meme. It's our meme time.
Wow. Oh, speechless.
Oh, that is so good.
That's
I want to
speechless.
thank Derek Hodemo from joining us from parts unknown. He may not come back next week.
Thanks, Robert.
Thank you, Derek.
I won that turkey trot, by the way. I won that turkey trot.
Let's move on.
Let's get ready to go. Sponsored by Supercuts.
You got one more week left in this. It's been a struggle. The struggle's been real this season. You got gas in your tank for one more go-round?
Oh, definitely. I think I got gas, just to go 5 more games, if anything, whatever, every chance I get to put on that helmet.
I know that it's a big week, it's a senior week. It's the last time maybe some of these guys will ever strap up. And more importantly, I know a lot of these local boys, the stadium means a lot to them. They grew up playing Pee Wee, grew up playing high school, so I know it means a lot for them to know that this is the last time they'll play in here. So I'm going to do everything in my power to, play well and just get it done for them.
It's going to be an emotional week because it's the final go-round.
Exactly.
You got gas left in your tank?
I got gas. Whenever we, put on the strap on the pads, it's just the love of the game. I love this game so much that I play hard for anybody, on my team. Anybody who get the same jersey as me, I play hard for them. I play hard for my family, the state of Hawaii, and all the supporters that, still coming out. I still see fans out there. I still hear that little noise coming on third down and stuff like that. But I appreciate, everybody who comes out and support, and that's who the guys I play for. I just play for the state of Hawaii.
And for their final game of the season, Hawaii Saturday night takes on Louisiana Monroe, the Warhawks. They lost to Texas State 16-3 last week. Their overall record is 1-10. They are 0-7 in the Sun Belt Conference. Senior week. Ben Clark came here as a student athlete interested in getting a medical degree, using football as a tool to get that degree. As he exits the program, school's on the back burner. He's got a chance to play at the next level. You see it happening for him?
Yeah, I do. I think he's an inside guy, and every team at every level, Robert's looking for smart football players who are consistent, that will play hurt. The metrics I look at, and you just talked about you and Nate, if there's there's 2 teams out of 127 that have changed all 3 coordinators. Coaching stability usually equals success on the field. Every guy that goes through 5 years should at least go to a bowl game once, should at least have a winning season. Thank God he's a student athlete. He'll get his degree, and hopefully he'll have more success at the next level.
It's Hawaii, the season ender, Saturday night against the Warhawks of Louisiana Monroe. For Rich Miano, Stephen Tsai, Nate Ilawa, I'm Robert Kikawa. For our entire crew, thank you for watching Inside Access here on OC Sports.
All right, guys, by a show of hands, who was in attendance at the UH football game against San Jose State Saturday? Hey, more than half the crowd accounted for.
Bank of Hawaii is proud to sponsor this program. But seriously.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of But Seriously. The announced turnstile attendance at Aloha Stadium on Friday was north of 19,000. That was for the high school state championship. Saturday, less than 12,000 in the stadium. Ouch. All right, well, we're going to be showing a lot of San Jose State highlights, particularly from quarterback Kenny Potter, 23 of 32 for 312 yards, 3 touchdown passes, also ran for 2 scores en route to a 42-23 Spartans win. They led 35-zip at halftime. Credit Hawaii, I guess, in this way. They did outscore San Jose State 23-7 after the intermission, but this was just another horrific result, and this time in front of a crowd, as we mentioned, fewer than 12,000, a record low for a Hawaii football game at that venue, Bobby.
Well, it was really tough to see the crowd, and once again, Hawaii turned Kenny Potter into more a version of Harry Potter. He looked like a wizard. I expect him to get on a broom and start flying to the end zone. The guy was unbelievable, and that's, you know, we've seen it before. Zach Greenleaf on the week before for Fresno State, he had a career game. That has got to be stopped.
And the crazy part, between those two guys, Greenlee and Potter, 11 touchdowns. Greenlee had 6, Potter with 5 for San Jose State. Neither of them named Mountain West Conference Player of the Week, which shows you the respect factor. I mean, it's almost as if the people who are voting for this are saying, yeah, but it was against Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yikes.
We kind of anticipated that this was going to be a tougher challenge, certainly because San Jose State we identified as being better than Fresno State.
Yeah.
And Hawaii, of course, struggled, made Zach Greenlee look like Aaron Rodgers out there. But Kenny Potter is legit. There's no doubt about it. But the way that game started, that first half, there was very little energy, and it just went south so quickly, Rob.
Yeah, and the interesting thing with that on the defense, it looked like the defensive line was getting a little bit of pressure. They just could not contain him. They couldn't get him down to the ground. They were able to get him out of the pocket, but then as that was happening, the defensive backs just could not keep up with the Spartan receivers. And so it was as if for as long as the UH defensive line was chasing him around the field, that just gave him more time to throw downfield. And the second half, they kind of switched. But that first half, it was brutal in the situation as far as what Potter was able to do to that secondary.
So Hawaii goes through the Mountain West slate in 2015 winless, Bobby. Put that in a framework for us.
I think we're seeing that the change of the guard is both necessary and timely. I mean, it has to happen soon. This is a point where you saw a San Jose State team 8.1 yards on every first down, 13.1 on third downs. I mean, you cannot be competitive in a football game that way. And for the first time this year in that first half, I was listening to people at halftime in the press box even, and you were hearing the Q word. I was happy to see a different resolve coming out after halftime.
Yeah, still wasn't enough to prevent the losing streak to reach now 9 straight games. Oh, to be in the mind of interim head coach Chris Naiole, how difficult this must be for him. Some of the frustration was certainly visible this past weekend in the loss to San Jose State. And we know Chris. We know his personality. He is a fighter. He is, quote unquote, old school. So you know that emotionally, this has to be, quite frankly, a living hell for him.
Well, he's a competitive sucker at the most basic element of his personality. And for him, I think this is torture. And when he saw in the first half a team that came out listless, my guess is Chris Naiole was a little embarrassed about it. He said he can put up with lack of execution, with mistakes, but what you can't handle is a lack of intensity, effort, or even the emotion to care about what you're doing.
When you look at it, this is the most brutally honest football team I have ever seen in my entire life. Whether it's Chris Naiole at the end of the game saying that he can identify that some players have quit on the team, or the coaches in the pregame talking about, I don't even know who the real leader is. I don't know who the boss is. I mean, Chris is the boss, but is he really the boss? When you have Tom Mason saying something like that, you have players in the postgame press conference questioning whether or not coaches are all there mentally. It's almost as if, like, they lowered the curtain. Like, you know, we're not supposed to see this stuff. I mean, it goes on, but I'm not sure you should be saying it out loud, because it's just one of those things that you don't want to hear players questioning coaches and coaches questioning players. And I think that may be feeding into what's going on right now.
It's an indication of just how frustrated everybody involved with this thing is. And for Chris Naiole, whose message was very pointed immediately when he received the interim head coaching tag, that message is only as good as what the players perceive it to be, and only as good as maybe what his fellow members of the coaching staff believe it to be. So maybe there's a little bit of a loss in translation somewhere in there.